One of the things we're getting a lot of people joining our group who may own gun dogs but don't work them, or they may own dogs and they're not gun dogs. And my group is specifically set up for gun dog people because of the great temptation we're going to put them dogs under. But one of the things that Larry was talking about the other day, I think yesterday, on his live feed, Larry Crone, he was talking about taking dogs in, gun dogs, that are pets, perhaps never going to be used as a gun dog, and their prey drive to chase is genetically high, and so he's putting e-collars on these dogs, and he's showing you how to train the dogs with e-collars so the dog doesn't fear the e-collar but understands the language of the e-collar, and then you get a behavior change because of it. And Larry makes a good point that for a professional dog trainer, gun dog trainer like myself, who my speciality is to get the stop on these dogs to a high level, even under great temptation, the average person, Larry says, wouldn't be willing to do it, or wouldn't have the understanding and knowledge. Well, actually, in some points, I think he's 100% right. But the biggest problem is what people do is they say no, 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 no to the dog, and then when the dog gets that freedom, the dog says you can't do nothing about it, and then the training goes out the window. It's the same as that young dog chasing that bird across there. He broke away from it because he's not getting nothing for it. What I say to people is I teach you to allow the dog to chase. There's nothing wrong with chasing. That's why we use the ball, that's why we use the dummy. But we do it in that sequence because we build the drive so high with the dummy, it's even higher. The dummy means even more to these dogs than the bird and the rabbit or the squirrel. And so it's the change of psychology that makes my training different to Larry's training. And there's the difference between, I totally understand what Larry's doing and why he does it the way he does it, and it's great that he explains it, and that's what dog training is about explaining. And if he didn't explain it, people wouldn't understand it. So I totally understand where Larry's coming from, but the idea is not everybody's got the understanding unless you find a trainer who knows what he's talking about, and my speciality is to stop under great temptation. And I couldn't stop these dogs in this situation if I didn't train the way I do. And by using the ball and the element of the fun of the chase and the dummy, anything I give the dog, the movement, we create that movement, that excitement, that drive, that desire, then we teach the dog to stop on that, then there's no way they're going to chase the rabbit, the squirrel, or a bird under temptation, because you've brought them to your level of listening to you through the element of the dummy. If you don't create such drive with the dummy or the ball drive we call it, right, and we're tapping into the movement, if you don't do that, what you end up doing, you end up having a dog that will sit and stay without temptation, no problem at all, looks lovely, like a lot of pet people, but then when it comes to the real temptation, the dog says, stuff you, I'm not listening. I'm not listening. So do I need an e-collar to train these dogs to stop on birds, rabbits? No, I don't. But what I do need to do is I need to tap into something that has a higher value to them than a bird. Now, if you've never chased a bird, you're not going to have the same high value chasing that bird as you are a dummy that you love, and the desire for the dummy is great. So if I take these dogs in the rabbit pen and I throw a dummy into the corner where a rabbit is, I guarantee they will go to the dummy, not the rabbit. Right? They won't chase the rabbit. They'll pick the dummy and bring it back, because the value of the dummy is greater than the rabbit when you first take the dog into a rabbit pen. Once you've allowed the dog to chase round a rabbit pen, the desire can change to the rabbit rather than the dummy. And that's why it's so important to get your retrieving into these dogs and get the desire to retrieve into these dogs, because that's your foundation that you're going to build on. So you don't take the dogs out looking for game to begin with, do you? No, you don't. He knows. He's going to learn, that puppy, Harley Quinn, is going to learn the most important thing in life to him is to chase the ball and the dummy. If I put him in a rabbit pen or take him on scent, the prey drive will kick in, and then you'll not have the ball drive and the dummy drive to any level that you can use it to mould and manipulate the dog's way of thinking. That's what we're doing by building lots and lots of desire and drive, and the importance of the tennis racket game, chasing. If they chase a bird across the sky and I'm screaming and shouting at them and they're not listening to me, I'm creating a problem. But if they're chasing a bird across the sky when I call them back, I've got to go after them. It's as simple as that. I want the dogs to have the freedom to have that natural ability, but I tap into the natural ability at a later stage, not at an early stage. If you tap into the game or the chase at the early stage, you're not going to get the dog back unless you have to use tools like an e-collar. So I totally understand where Larry Crone's come from and why he said what he said, that not everybody is a gun dog expert or have the knowledge or the time or the commitment to put in what we put in. The skill is getting the best out of the dog without suppressing it to the level that it's just dried up and it just won't leave your side. Just won't leave your side. The idea is I want the dogs to have the confidence to roam but come back when told. So if they were chasing a rabbit, flat out, I'd want them to break away and come back off that rabbit once I've taught them. But if I haven't taught them, I actually encourage them to chase. I say there's nothing wrong with chasing on that situation, but when I've taught you, you better not chase. Wiz, get here. See that? The oldest dog here decided not to come back instantly on the whistle. The most experienced dog, come here. Get on. He decided that he would do it on his own time, so I just told him. Where the youngsters all came back. What I'm saying to you is, there's nothing wrong with chasing as long as you say the dog can chase. If you tell the dog it can't chase, and you've taught the behaviour, that's when you can give the chastisement or the punishment. But if you do it in stages like I show you, you don't have a problem. You bring the dog back in, no problem at all. And that's why I can put a dog in a rabbit pen and teach it to chase, then take it outside the rabbit pen, teach it to stop on the dummies, because the dummies are of higher value than the chase in the rabbit pen. I bring the chase up in the rabbit pen to the point the dog doesn't want to stop, wants to carry on chasing, and then I bring the dog back. Now, everyone can say, well, you need a rabbit pen. No, you don't. You don't need a rabbit pen, because you can do it in stages with the dummy. Once you've taught it with the dummy, I guarantee it doesn't matter what environment you're in, the dog does not chase if you get your training right. And that's a skill as a trainer, as a gun dog trainer. If you've got gun dogs, you find a gun dog trainer. If you want to train the dog to be a gun dog. If you want the dog to be a pet, you've still got to think, hang on, genetically, it's got a nose that likes to put its nose down like these do, look. Likes to find stuff and wants to chase it. At the end of the day, some dogs want to chase and kill. These dogs, if you allow them to chase hard enough and long enough, they will. But they're bred specifically for a soft mouth, catch it and they should bring it back. Raph! Raph, here! Where the frickin' hell are you going? Raph, where are you going? Are you on AWOL? Get on. Bloody AWOL, he went AWOL. Anyway, I hope that helps you understand. And that's why people are tapping into my videos. And it's wonderful to have Larry Crone on board my Patreon site. And I'm not just saying that for bragging rights. I'm saying it because I love his work with the e-collar. And I think that if you want to learn how to use an e-collar and condition a dog with an e-collar and teach the behaviour, and when I say teach the behaviour, he's teaching the behaviour first, but he's using the e-collar in such a beautiful way that loads of people have come on board. Loads of people have realised what he's doing, and they love the fact. And like Larry says himself, he wasn't the first one to do it, and he's not pretending he is. He's picked up the idea from other people. I've picked it up from Larry, but I'm not a specialist e-collar trainer. But I know how to use an e-collar now and get results from dogs without flattening the drive. Especially on a recall, because I think it's a wonderful tool for the recall. Now, does that mean we need to use it all the time? When's the last time you've seen it on him? When is the last time you've seen it on him? Does he respond? Yes. Is he 100%? Well, he's 99%. Could I take him in a field full of rabbits? Yes, I could. Could I call him away from the rabbits? Yes, I could. May I have to give a correction on the odd occasion if he wanted to push me? Yeah, I would. And I wouldn't feel any sentimental problem or he's let me down or anything like that, because I then enforcing it without the e-collar. But have I used the e-collar on him? Yes, I have. You've seen it. And it's a shame that my videos got taken down, all the e-collar videos, because I don't do hundreds of e-collar videos, because I don't put the e-collar on every dog like Larry does. And Larry explains it very sensibly, that he puts it on every dog because at some stage those dogs go back to the owner, and if the owner is struggling, it's your get out of jail card. You can tap and the dog knows what you want it to do, because he's taught that dog that. Right, and like he says, he doesn't teach nothing with the e-collar, and that's important. I don't want to misrepresent what Larry is saying, but he says he doesn't teach nothing with the e-collar. He teaches the behaviour, but then strengthens it with the e-collar, and I believe that's the best way to do it. I believe that is the best way to get the result through the e-collar, what I've seen. Because I don't like dogs that are flattened, and that's exactly what Larry doesn't like. He doesn't like dogs that are flattened. So at the end of the day, I put my dogs in a rabbit pen and let them chase. I actually let them chase anything, squirrels, pheasants, anything, to bring the drive up. I then take them out, put the stop on them with the dummy that I've already created such drive, it's higher value than that rabbit and that pheasant at that point, because the dog's only had a couple of chasers on game. Then I bring the dog back out of the rabbit pen after it's had a couple of chases in a controlled environment. But it wouldn't matter if we came out here and a dog chased a pheasant until it flew off, or chased a squirrel till it ran up a tree. I'd then take the dog away and I'd teach the stop in a very strong way, that when I blow that stop whistle, or I say sit up, that dog sits up. That dog just bangs its arse down. Right, and that's important. And that's why I enforce the sit. If I ask them to SIT and they don't, then that's when I enforce it. That's part and parcel of my way of training. If you don't like that, not a problem. But I guarantee, could I walk all these dogs down the road, up the pavement, at my side? No. Why? Because I'm not a regimental trainer. Could I find game for you with these dogs? Without fail. Could I walk down there with 2 of them on the lead? No problem at all. I can walk with them all on the lead. But what I'm saying, it's not one of the things I do. I don't practice it much. Can you do it? Of course you can do it. Of course you can do it. I can put a lead on any of these dogs and they won't pull, because they've been conditioned on a long line, and that's what we're going to show you. We condition the dog to switch off the pressure. We talk about pressure and release, and that's what we do on a long line. So these dogs, as soon as they go on a long line, they go, no, I'm in training. I'm in training mode. I mustn't do anything wrong. I must behave myself. But I don't run them with a gate closed, because I have no fear of those dogs going through there. That's a road that's a lot of cars race up and down. But I don't worry about that, because I call them back. And if they don't come back straight away, then I'll increase it with a verbal command. If they don't listen to that, or I realise they're not listening sharp enough, I'll enforce it with discipline. As simple as that. But if you are consistent and you don't accept and you don't become complacent, you don't accept that they go wrong and carry on pushing you, then you don't have the problem. The more you call them and they don't listen to you, the more they say stuff to you, I'm not listening to you. So when I give a command, it's got to be followed through. So I don't give a command unless I really need to. So I'm not giving commands all the time. So when I give a command, it means I want you to do something. It's not voluntary, it's direct, I want you to do it. If you don't follow those commands, there will be consequences. And these dogs want to avoid the negative, but work for the positive. Now, normally when I ask them to do something, there's normally a positive at the end of it. That's why they're reacting, not just because there's a negative. They're reacting because normally there's a positive, like another retrieve or some fun over here. We're going in this direction. So when I'm out with them and we're hunting, they see that as a fun element. That's why they want to go hunting. But in this field, they're not in hunting mode. They're not twisting themselves inside out. This is like time out mode. Have a crap mode, run around. This is time out mode. And this is what I want. I don't want to be nagging and shouting at them. But if I give a command, no matter what command it is, I don't care. They've all got to listen. Every one of them's got to listen. And as you can see, they got the confidence to open up because they're not under pressure. They're not regimentally schooled. I want the puppy to want to open up and go after them, and he does. Watch this one come in, look, watch. Right, he's learning now not to jump on them, look. He's got nothing for jumping on them. Where before he was jumping on them, he's now realising that when they come in and put their head down, there's not something normally there of interest. So he's exploring, he's not jumping on them. I didn't keep pushing him or knocking him for trying to ride the other dogs. He got nothing for it. So he learned through association by jumping up. He gets nothing for it by jumping up on my leg and wanting attention. Look at him, look. He's just being a pup. He's finding his feet. But if I move away from him, he'll come towards me, but he's finding his feet, look. The confidence is there, look. And he was jumping up a few weeks ago to every dog, and he will still do it to a certain extent, but nowhere near as much as he was, because he's now realising he's getting nothing for it. There's no positive for it. So the dogs are clever. The dogs work it out. If it's in their interest to listen, they'll listen. And that's why my training works so well with the method of training that I've brought up myself. And when I say brought up myself and learnt myself, is I've watched so many other people. I've used a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I've experimented myself and come up with better ideas. And that's what it's about. It's about spreading those ideas, sharing those ideas. These nettles are coming up now. This little puppet will be bothering him. But he still stays with the pack. He still comes with the pack. He doesn't stay down there and go, I'm not going nowhere near them. I'm going to change direction and I'm going to walk up here. I'm not calling the dogs. All the dogs will come with us because all the dogs see me as the leader. But the leader doesn't need to scream and shout. A leader needs to step in when he needs to. And that's leadership for you. It doesn't need to be discipline, discipline, obedience, obedience. The dogs just follow. It's a bigger part of the training than the actual obedience. And I think Larry's even explained that in the past and people have got confused. And I like a lot of what Larry says because I do it. I agree with it and I've seen it. But he still taught me stuff as well. So, like I said, I promote people who actually like watching. And one of the other person I like watching is Chris Fraser. And I think Chris Fraser's got a unique way of understanding and reading dogs. And when I say unique, it's what good professional dog trainers will see and say, yep, that guy knows what he's talking about, right? That guy's got good understanding. He's right. It's about educating the people. The dogs are easy. It's about educating the people, but so many people are being misled by idiots on the internet. Come on in. So, I've been listening to a lot of Chris Fray's stuff lately on his live chats, and his live chats are fantastic. I like his input. I like what he's putting out there. And he's another person who's gone over to Patreon. And at the end of the day, he's into a different area of training than me. I don't see half as much aggression and naughty behaviour because I'm a gun dog trainer. That's not saying that I don't see it. I do, but not on the level that he does and what he deals with. And so he's a specialist in his own area, but could he move over to my area? Maybe. You know, with a couple of years training, I think he'd pick it up very, very quickly compared to someone who doesn't have the insight and understanding that he's got with dogs. But vice versa, I could do the same with him. After a number of years, I could pick up his speciality, and it would be quicker for me with my understanding and my knowledge. But for the average person to listen to Chris Fraser or listen to myself when we're talking about discipline and how we can't show videos of correction because of the people out there. And when we say correction, it doesn't mean that it's nasty and hard. It means that we're going down nature's way and showing how it can be done. But unfortunately, like he was saying the other day, he'd done a video and they're contemplating whether they could put it up or couldn't put it up. The problem is, there's certain videos you can put up and there's certain videos that you'd get hammered for. Now, do we stand up and say, I'll take the hammering, I'll take the negative feedback, where everyone tries to ruin your business and close you down, just because you're being honest? Or do we have to hold back and not show those videos? Well, I've learnt in the past, we have to talk about it, we have to show it, but you can't show everything. You can't show 100% because of the fanny state out there of the snowflakes that would attack. Not because you're being nasty to any dog, but you're using correction. And so many people these days say, okay, I'll use the e-collar because you can't see the correction through the e-collar. But you can see the dogs are suppressed if you don't teach the e-collar properly. And that's why I bring Larry back into this, because with the way Larry shows you how to use an e-collar, then I think that it's a fantastic tool. But if you saw me running across the field over there for a dog that wasn't listening and was chasing something that wasn't listening, and he knew the behaviour, he's going to get some chastisement. And that chastisement, if it was seen on video or on a video camera or on a mobile phone, someone could say that's not dog training, that's cruelty. They haven't seen the consequences of all the work you've put in and all the time and commitment you've put in to train that dog, and that dog just says, I'm not listening to you today, I'm going on one. Wiz, get here. Come on, in. They're not take that into the equation, that the dog knows the behaviour, he's just testing and being naughty. And dogs do that. Dogs test. They're opportunists. That's what they do. So anyway, that's Chris Upton. Morning walk with the dogs. Come on, pup. Hey. In. What are you bleeding for? Have you hit the fence, have you?